It's Thursday, December 4th, 2025. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields, and the rain on the move. Some of us yesterday had some heavier rain parts of the Eastern Caribbean. Some islands had a lot, some islands not a whole lot as expected. And this moisture will be moving across toward the ABC Islands today, and then eventually moving across towards Central America. I'll show you how close some of this rain gets to Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, but watching this rain as a whole, and with that said, no signs of development out of this, right? We're not in the hurricane season, but in a rare moment, there have been 28 named storms in the month of December. But with this rain on the move, we're not seeing any signs of development. So I always want to let you know about that. Again, we're out of the hurricane season. Occasionally, there's a rare system in the off season. If there is, I'll track that. Usually, it's way the heck out in the Atlantic. Not a bother, just kind of a subtropical spin, if you will. But again, no signs of development. But with that, we need to watch the rain as this is on the move, because we are going to see isolated areas of flooding. Just want to zoom down a little bit quickly here. Aruba, Curacao, Bonaire, we'll have some spots that could get 75 millimeters of rain over the next couple of days as this rain works across. And a lot of that would be today into tomorrow. This will work its way back toward Central America. So we'll be watching the rain, some of the pockets of flooding. That will be a possibility. Now you can see it here. Here's that batch of rain near the ABC Islands. We swing back still toward the southeastern Caribbean. This is going to be an issue. As we go through December, we're going to see this big moisture feed, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Grenada, St. Vincent and Grenadines, sweeping across Venezuela, the ABC Islands, and back toward parts of the southern Caribbean where we could see some flooding. Now, here's what's happening. Here's Jamaica. This batch of rain will mainly be to the south of Jamaica for tomorrow. And then there's another pocket here trying to work in toward Venezuela and Guyana. We'll keep an eye on how close that gets toward Trinidad, but it's that active pattern. You see her again by Saturday south of the Cayman Islands, but that rain moving toward Providencia, San Andres, Honduras, back through Nicaragua. You see it here, and here's that other batch. This is the pattern for December that I've been talking about for weeks. So at times in these sectors in through here, we're going to see that possibility of flooding. We'll monitor, then a better chance of the scattered areas of rain in Central America on Sunday, a front to the north, which I'll show you in just a second, but more of that moisture feeding in near Suriname, Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, and Venezuela. We'll be watching that. So as I mentioned, an active December, especially for some across the southern Caribbean where that moisture feed is going to be intact, not seeing a developed system, but we need to watch out for the possibility of some flooding, and that's what we'll be monitoring. Now, shifting to the north, I mentioned some of the fronts. Here's another moisture feed, and you can see it here from Mexico. Watching Mexico right through here, back through Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, back through parts of the Carolinas. Some of this rain will meet that cold air from the north, and that means a changeover to snow and some ice. But two moisture feeds, that one in the Caribbean and another one here. Sometimes the patterns get stuck. So that's what we'll be watching, seeing where some of the heavier rain will be going. And look at this heavy rain right through here. New system dropping in toward the Pacific Northwest of the U.S. and British Columbia. But here's this moisture feed. Here's Bermuda. And again, the system trying to depart the Atlantic region of Canada with additional snow. This here is on Saturday. More of that rain still back toward parts of Florida. And look how it makes a resurgence across the Gulf, just feeding in that moisture. Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, some heavier rain again. So those two moisture feeds, what we'll be watching as we work our way forward through the rest of the month. Now, with that said, with some of that rain that's been around, we've been seeing that moisture pulling in. That also corresponds to some choppier seas, the Atlantic passageways, and then a little bumpier. This is tomorrow as we work our way into the central sections of the Caribbean. You see a bit of a chop in the waters, and of course with that front near Bermuda, some higher seas. This is through Sunday, but nothing too crazy. In the Gulf, for the most part, looking good as far as those seas are concerned. So looking at these rain totals, substantial here. Bahamas, we're looking good. Cuba, not a whole lot, right? Hit or miss. Much of Florida, hit or miss. But this is that heavier rain right in through here. I'll show you that more in just a second, with the possibility of significant flooding in spots in the southern sections of the U.S. Scattered about. Here we are in Jamaica. Now, the heaviest rain, the biggest batch of rain will be to the south. You see see it right here, but that doesn't mean we can't get a downpour. If we get a downpour, you see a little bit of that purple, that could give us a quick 50 millimeters of rain in Jamaica. Not a whole lot. Cayman Islands, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Turks and Caicos, spotty Puerto Rico back through Antigua, Barbuda, Guadeloupe south. That's where we have a slightly better chance. Again, some of the heaviest stuff is working its way toward the ABC Islands, but still in this sector, some totals of 75 millimeters of rain, and a very close eye on Trinidad and Tobago south, back through northeastern sections of Venezuela and Guyana, even clipping by Suriname. Look at some of those totals, over 100 millimeters of rain. And again, this is what I've been talking about as far as that flood potential goes. Even if we don't get flooding with the next couple of rounds of rain, it just kind of builds. Some of the rivers rise and it just kind of adds on. So that's what we have to watch throughout the month. And then we'll see this moisture feeding in near the ABC Islands, watching northern Colombia, and then it will start to work its way over towards Central America. So we'll be watching Honduras, over toward the Bay Islands, and then swinging back toward Providencia, San Andres, and Nicaragua as we go into the weekend. But again, no signs of development. This here, that moisture feed back through Mexico, mainly north of Mexico City, and then kind of clipping by parts of East Texas, and then working its way toward Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, with some of those higher totals in through here. We're looking at a few inches of rain. Louisiana, Mississippi, especially eastern Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, southern sections in through here. Some of those totals could be over 6 inches of some rain. Of course, on the backside of this would be some of that snow that would be sneaking in to some spots. So Jamaica, as I mentioned, while we won't have widespread rain, it doesn't mean we can't get a downpour. As I mentioned, we could get a couple brief high totals. 40% chance of some of those downpours will be holding. Cayman Islands, we're not looking at a whole lot, a 20% chance. Staying active as a whole, up and down. Trinidad and Tobago, 60% chance today and a 40% chance for tomorrow. 40% chance of some passing showers today in Barbados. We work our way through St. Lucia, 40% chance today and a 30% chance tomorrow. Still elevated around Grenada today. Scattered areas of rain will be a possibility. Same thing, St. Vincent and the Grenadines goes down a little bit tomorrow, back down to about a 40% chance. Martinique, the next 2 days, a 40% chance of getting some of the showers. Same thing in Dominica, so not looking at a washout, but Dominica, 40% chance both today into tomorrow. 40% chance today in Guadeloupe, and a 30% chance as we work our way into tomorrow. Antigua, Barbuda, very isolated, 30% chance of a shower over the next couple of days, a 30% chance today and Friday. St. Kitts and Nevis and Montserrat, so passing Variety, Aguila, St. Bart's, 20 to 30% chance, 20 to 30% chance into the weekend. St. Martin, Saba, and Statia. Puerto Rico, rain chance the next 2 days holding at 30%, and just a 20% chance in Agata South through St. Croix. Bahamas, most of the action is either to the south or to the north. Turks and Caicos, that rain chance stays limited as well. 30 to 40% chance the next 3 days in the Dominican Republic. And Haiti, just a 20% chance leading into the weekend, so that rain chance is not high. Belize, 30 to 40% chance, but by Sunday into next week, the rain chance should be bumping up. We'll be watching us in Belize, Aruba. You can see that rain chance 60% today and a 70% chance tomorrow. And some of this may even be at night for tonight. Better chance of getting some of the rain. Generally the same thing, Curacao and Bonaire the next 2 days. That rain chance is higher across the ABC Islands. Now watching out for that potential of flooding in Guyana, 70 to 80% chance of some of the rain. Suriname, it's mainly northwestern sections with about a 40% chance overall. Cuba, rain chance stays limited. We're at a 20% chance and a 40 to 50% chance. Costa Rica and Panama the next 3 days. Nicaragua, watching eastern sections. And as we work around to Honduras, as we get into the weekend, that rain chance will be bumping up with that moisture on the move. Guatemala, El Salvador, the next couple days, rain chance stays small in Mexico City. Again, more of that rain to the north. Merida, Campeche, Cancun, Cozumel, Yucatan Peninsula, mainly on the dry side. 40 to 50% chance in northern Colombia. Higher parts of Venezuela with that moisture sliding by in the southern Caribbean. and Bermuda, watching out for some of the fronts that will be zooming by as we go over the next 2 days. So areas of rain moving across, isolated areas of flooding now. That could become more intense as the month goes on. That rain is that kind of batch of rain moving towards Central America, where that rain chance will be bumping up further as we get into the weekend. So we'll be watching these pockets of rain. So thank you for being part of this weather community, taking the time to subscribe, letting us know kind of what your weather is in the comments section. I'll be going through those throughout the day. So I hope you have a really good day ahead.